So we're going to start a development application on the Citizen portal, and then we'll go through a couple of steps in the plan review process, right? We'll go into the markup tool and take a look at that, how that looks, and that sort of thing. And, we can also, I'm going to do this in our test environment, and I'm going to use, a existing configuration, right? So, we'll be able to look at some real life projects in the system, which is helpful because it's kind of hard to, do something that typically would take a long time in a short demo.
Citizenserve is all web-based, so everything you ever need to access it is a browser and access to the internet. No software you ever have to download or anything like that. So Jim's completely in the browser. And we've been browser-based 16 years. We started that way, which has been a great decision for us. So it's, functionality with the browser continues to increase. People's familiarity with the browser continues to increase. It's just, makes our software more usable and something that they're used to.
And it just is necessary for iPads, smartphones, all that, whatever the term is, Mel, that you use.
Yeah, so right now, Jim's kind of showing that as it's called HTML responsive design. So there's no, your contractors or citizens, there's never any software that they have to use and will work on any device or any browser. No apps that they have to download or anything like that. And it's all fully functional. Okay, so Jim's in, I'm just going to walk us through.
Yeah, so let's do an application here. And I'm going to do a development application. And for us, it doesn't really matter. We can set up. We talked a little bit about the custom fields. We've got 40 custom field types that we can design the applications with. But we'll do a development application. And so I'm going to register on this just to show you what that looks like. So users can register on the system. And so I'm just saying I'm a developer, right? And I'll put my email address in here. And we can control what fields are available, and we can also required by registration type, and then we can have custom fields too. Like if you wanted to get, a copy of the contractor's insurance or stuff like that with the registration, you can. We can also get that with the license. And I'll just put my name in here. Business name, Jim's Development.
This is all just custom fields for this type of registration. So we can set that up with whatever custom fields you want to gather during different types of registrations that you're going to have on the portal.
And we'll put in some more information here. So
when the red bars are required, the other ones are optional.
And it looks like I got to put one phone number in here. That's the one phone number is required. And I'm going to use my email address here. And I'll put a password in. Of course, they don't match. I'll put it in yet. Click submit. See if that works. Good. So my registration is complete. Now I'm actually logged into the system, right? So, and as I mentioned before, that we can use all the browser features. So we can translate the page if we want to another language. Also, the application forms will translate, stuff like that. I can view my requests. I don't have any in the system right now. This is Stanford, Florida. I'm not sure how big they are, probably 50,000 or something like that. And I'm going to go ahead and I can see down here my development project section, right? And I can click on the development projects. The development department can, kind of have their own text here and information here and links to different features in the applications, right? I can click on submittal requirements, and there's different pages that you can edit and maintain on the portal, right? I'm going to click apply online. And these are the development applications that they have in the system. So we're going to do a development plan. And then there's subtypes. We can have subtypes for all the different forms. A lot of times when we work with customers, we're going to take a look at your applications, and we might be based on the features in Citizenserve. We might do some consolidation of the application types. You know, we might have like 400 different application types, and we might turn that into 50. So based on the custom field features and the subtypes and types of things that we can do with the applications that maybe you couldn't do before. So
dynamic questions is a really good one like that, where if they say no, you know, we're not going to ask those questions, and if they say yes, we will. And a lot of times, just those dynamic questions alone allow us to consolidate the number of permits, because we can make it simple for those that are simple and complex for those that are complex with the same application.
So here I've got an opportunity to say, hey, this particular permit type is part of or application type is part of a existing project, in which case it'll show me the projects I'm involved in. I'm going to say new project, and I'm going to put an address in here. We can do freeform addresses. You can also have no address, you know, no physical address, and we can also have it validate with the property information, right? So I think this one here validates. And so it does. So it found the address. If there was more than one address, it's going to pop up and show me the matches that are in the system, and I can pick one, right? So here's our application form. So this is the information that we're collecting as part of this project, right? And again, I'm a developer. You know, I'm on the citizen portal filling out the application. And here's the forms. You know, a lot of times, you know, some of the application might, you know, or the software or the portal might be HTML5, but when you pull up the application, it's not, right? Our applications morph into the form factor. And if I clicked on Google Translate here, it would change it to German or Spanish or whatever. The whole application, all the labels and stuff like that would be translated.
And
so
some of the change, like if it's a drop down or it's like a calendar, you're going to see the calendar event or the calendar for that device that you're on. So some things do change based on the devices too.
Okay. When selecting an address or parcel number, you've entered it here. You do have some verification on it, but can I select my area from a map? Is there that capability? Can I don't know, click on something and it takes me to a map so that I can
you can do
identify an area?
You can do that from the administrative side. We haven't enabled that from the portal side.
We're also, you know, we talked in the first session about the custom fields, right? And we're adding a custom field that allows you to basically, you know, draw a polygon or a shape on a map. You know, is so we could just throw that into an application, and then, you know, someone would click on it, they could open the map, and then, you know, drill down on the area that they want to draw something on, and they can draw something on the map. And then that's just going to be a custom field that we can put on any of the applications. So that'd likely be out within the next couple of months. So, you know, long before you guys would go live. So it is something that's kind of in our list of things that we're adding. And it, you know, it came up. I think we were working on something that was had something to do with buoys, permitting water structures, kind of a wetlands permitting stuff, and so, you know, we needed to be able to identify a dock or a buoy and that, you know, is not really associated with the property and is owned by somebody. So, but you could use it in this example. You would be able to use it for a development application where they kind of mark off the land that they're developing. So. So this is kind of an example of the custom fields being dynamic. So if I can here, I could say there's multiple parcels, and I could list my parcels in here if I wanted to, right? I'll say no, and we'll put in the acreage. Actually, that's a lot of acreage. I was thinking square footage. We'll put in some square footage, and you know, maybe some acres, and
like several other parcel numbers associated with that community or whatever that might be.
Just an entered in number.
In this case, it is. I mean, we could do lookups on those.
Yeah, it's just notice with the entered number how easy it'd be to be off by small.
Yeah. Yeah. This is an example of how Sanford chose to do it.
So we could change it where you actually had it connected to it, okay.
So, you know, here I've got an opportunity also to pick the current zoning in the system, and I'll just say it's land development. We're always going to show you the property owner associated with the address up here as one of the people that might be, you know, something that we would select for this. And then I've got, you know, here the applicant shows up too, which is handy, right? So I'll just say that Red Lion Properties is the owner. And then here's my, you know, this is the kind of property information I'm entering up here, and I can enter some project information down here. And I'm going to say we're doing a development plan. And this is kind of an example. You might have, you know, different applications for each one of these, but, you know, we can just set it up in a drop-down list box and stuff like that. So this is asking if we are on a future land map. I'm not sure what it's going to do, but we'll say yes. Does this require a rezone? And we could say yes or no on this. We'll say no. Proposed development. You know, say it's mixed use. And then we can. This is another example of the dynamic features, right? Where, you know, it's kind of pulling up, you know, based on the use types here. You know, it's allowing me to pick. You know, add some information. So I'm saying, you know, the buildings I'm going to do, maybe it's 60,000 square feet, and I'm not even sure what that means, so I'll leave it blank. So,
all custom for you, right? I mean, everything below kind of once you pick that address, and this is just an example of one of our existing customers and how they change their configuration.
Property information and below, and we can do. We talked about the custom fields, but there's all sorts of different types of custom fields we can do. You know, one that's maybe a little bit like the map feature, you know, it's like we have a drawing custom field where you can ask people to draw their layout or something like that in the system. And so this is the submittal requirements down here. Typically with a planning application, you know, we're going to allow multiple documents with the button, right? But you can also be very specific about, you know, what you want to have in there. So that's something that's available. And we can put links in the applications to various documents. You know, here's like maybe a document that I have to fill out and get notarized or something like that. You know, here I can fill this out, get it notarized. It allows me to kind of embed those right there in the application. I'm going to click on select file here, and we'll just click something that looks like an application and put that in there. And then here's my development site plan. So I'm assuming this one's going to be a multiple. So I'll just throw in a couple of documents here. Now I can pick multiple things here if I want. I'll pick the landscape plan and development permit applications. I'll do a subdivision site plan and maybe a soil report. So I can upload all these.
I think that they were filling out a literal application rather than.
Because there's a lot of information that they're putting in that would be more, I think, on the staff.
Right.
To enter.
Right.
And there is. So this is, I mean, what you're seeing here, can be whole additional stuff that's on the staff side that they're not going to see.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we can say staff only, both can see it, or just some things you just want them to see it and you don't want to see it. So all that's very configurable. So there can be much more to this application than what they're filling out.
I don't know if they less, because I don't know if we want them putting their, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we're going to.
What I'm understanding is it's entirely customizable to the way that our business process.
Pretty much, yep.
Yeah.
And we work with over 300, you know, going on 400 jurisdictions. The system has to be so configurable, working with local governments, because everybody does things differently. So everything's different: application forms, fees, templates, you know, stuff like that. So we, you know, over 16 years, we've just made it very configurable.
Our model from the very beginning has been a complete support model. So if you want to change your applications, change your fees, you want to report written, we do all that for our customers. And so a lot of what we do is not just like a one-time configuration for the implementation. but we're working with our customers on a daily basis, making the changes that they want to have in the system. So we've made it very configurable over our 16-year history to be able to work with our customers in that way.
So, so basically, I've uploaded some documents, and that documents can be anything. I mean, we, you know, sometimes we can, with the custom field, we can say only PDF, or we'll take anything. We don't take, you know, executable files or zip files, things that might be malicious. So, and then you can do any kind of, you know, text. You know, this is just a text custom field. We can do HTML within the fields, you know, so if I wanted to make something red and bold, I can do that. I can make links to other systems. There's a lot we can do, you know. We can also, you know, if we wanted a signature here, we could do a signature. We're just going to do a, check this. And I can save for later. If I click on save for later, it's going to put it in a cart. And basically that way I can, you know, come back and finish it and then click submit. I'm going to go ahead and click submit here. This is our, you know, one of our test systems. It's our data conversion test system. So sometimes it's going to go a little slower than our production system. So here I am in my account, and I can look at my application here, and if I click on it, so I can go back to my application and I can see, you know, the form that's been filled out. I can also go over here and see my review. So this is the automated workflow review that was kicked off when the application was submitted, right? And these are going to go to various people, you know, based on the workflow. And we can do any combination of parallel or sequential activities in the system. And if I don't know, Ray, at this point, if I don't want to jump around too much, but if we wanted to go look at how the workflow is configured, you know, we can do that. But I'll just kind of keep going. If we want to see if at any point you want to, if at any point you want to see how it's done in the, you know, in the back behind the curtain, just ask me, and I'll log in as a user that has administrative rights, and I'll show you how it's configured. Most of the system is just so easy to configure and change, and we include unlimited training with the subscription. So if you want us to show you how to do it, we'll do it, or we'll do it for you as part of support.
Can you go back to that one second?
Yeah.
So in this, you'll see that those are the workflow steps, and in this particular instance, all of those are happening in parallel right now. So you could also have, like, until the review is completed, nothing else is assigned. Just in this case, what they chose to do was all those are parallel at that point in time, except for that last step, the DRT meeting engine. You'll see it doesn't have a start date on it, but you could have it so like the review complete was the only thing that was assigned, and then when they completed that, then the other ones would get assigned. Okay, go ahead, Jim.
Ray is correct. This particular workflow is set up where it's going in parallel to all these folks, and we can, for each step in the process, we can configure a, you know, number of days for the due date, right? So, you know, one person, you know, we might expect a turnaround time of 1 day, and somebody else we might give them 2 weeks, and it just kind of helps you manage your overdue activities, right? In the system. And then we can set up the whole your agendas for your development review committees, your council meetings, you know, anything that's a step in the process, it's a meeting, we can set that up, and you can take the minutes, and we've done some really cool stuff where we've you know, we can develop the agenda, but then we also all the minutes are there, and then the minutes become a report. We talked a little bit about the reports, but it becomes a report on the portal, so that, you know, all your agenda, your meeting minutes for your development projects are out there, easily accessible as a report in Citizenserve, right? So you don't have to mess around with, say, doing that in Word or something. Stanford actually has the documents turned off. I'm not sure why, but they do. So, and then you can see your inspections in here too. And in this particular file type, there's no inspections because it's really a development. It's a development project. So this is, you know, kind of here we can see reports. This is their permits. I'll go back a little bit. So permits on a map, but we can do anything: map reports, chart reports, stuff like that.
So on the reports, it's really kind of two different places we can put reports. So you can put reports before somebody logs in, which is open to the general public. So you can put any report out there that you wanted, or you can have specific reports that once you're logged in, you can only see these specific reports.
And that's configurable as to what we want to disseminate or not.
Yeah, exactly. And any kind of report we can do, any map report, anything that you know, and really I tell my clients, they go, what are the things that you get calls for? People are asking you this type of information all the time. Whereas you can direct them to the portal, they can get it themselves, they can print it out, they can have that information. It really is a time saver. The map reports, chart reports, any of those types of things.
And so the reports can be anywhere. You know, we can put them anywhere as links in the system. So that's something that's kind of cool. So I think that. So some of the new people that missed kind of the overview piece, if there's something that you guys are wondering, we might have covered it in the other section, please go ahead and ask those things. But I don't think we're going to cover everything here. But if you're wondering something, please go ahead and ask that, and we'll show it. And I'm going to step outside in this sweater. This Arizona boy's cold.
You're next to the brought a jacket today.
Go ahead, Jim.
So we'll log into Sabrina here. So this is the staff side of the application. You know, it's all you can zoom in and zoom out. My screen's kind of zoomed in, so sometimes things look a little weird. But so here I've got my task area here. My picture would show up if we had a picture of Sabrina. You can customize the quick find up here. So you can make this, you know, kind of anything you want to make it. You can customize your homepage too. So you can put different things on the top if you want. You know, let's say we wanted to move our metrics up to the top. I can do that. So here's my metrics. The metrics are really cool. This is kind of like your dashboard. You can, you know, supervisors might set up, you know, a list of all their staff's activities, and they can drill down on that. This one's got, you know, pending permit reviews, and you can drill down on these different things, and you can drill down on the file numbers, and you can see what's going on right there. So if I wanted to add a metric, I can just go over here and add a metric if I want to. So let's do overdue permit reviews, and we'll do just we'll say for everybody and add that, and I can save it, and that's going to pull that up onto my metrics, right? You know, I see my overdue permit reviews. So that's how we have map metrics. There's a bunch of different types of metrics. And if there's a metric that's not there, that's included in support. So, you know, that's something that we can do for you. And, you know, so that's something that's available. And we can really do anything with any of the information in the database. So I've got my task area here. This is kind of going to be my reviews. These are like to-do list items, right? So, you know, they're going to show up, and here's Jim's Business Park. You know, that's the one we just did, right? So we've got some other stuff happening in here in the system, so I can see those different activities. Now you can slice and dice your activities by due date. You can sort them in the different order. You can see them on a map if you want. So this is Sanford, and so I can see you know, my activities on a map, and I can drill down on the permits and licenses and stuff like that. I can pull in layers if I want to. They just have a zoning layer in the system, and so I can drill down on that. And, you know, if I want to see the zoning in the area, I can click on it. And this is going to show all there's only one thing here, but it's going to show all the database information associated with that object. So we can have, you know, shapes on the maps, you know, particular things and stuff. You can zoom in. You can go to satellite view, zoom in and look at things. You can go into street view too, if you want. So yeah, there's lots of different things you can do in the system. So, and
if we do
there's a
for your citizens, they can do all that on a map report too. They can drill down, do layers, or go to the satellite view.
You create notification listings from like a 200-foot buffer area.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have that capability to do that?
Yep, that's a standard. That's a standard report that we do. Yeah.
Something I'm not clear on here. For the demo, you're using Google Maps. Are we gonna have our GIS maps there, or is it somehow taking our GIS layers and putting it into
Projecting them
Google?
into Google.
Right. Taking your GIS layers and putting it on top of Google Maps. That's just our basic map.
Google's the base layer.
Google's
and
the base
we would
layer.
overlay on top of that.
And the same with your parcel information. We're going to geocode all the parcel information that you give us, so we're not dependent on Google's, what they're saying is the address. We take your address information, latitude, longitude, put that in, and that's what we use.
So you
Is that
use
the
our.
same for the aerial then?
We can use your aerial photography if you guys have that.
We have very good updated aerial photography that includes LiDAR.
Yeah.
That's very important to us.
Phone every other year.
Yeah. It's our contour information.
Yeah. So there's some integration pieces that we can do to use that. Was that
so basically, you know, on the homepage also you've got your calendar, you know, so that's going to be available. And then anything you've accessed recently is going to show up.
I'm sorry. Yes. So back to your question about the buffer.
Yes.
Right. So what we could do is run a report that does, you know, pulls up all the parcels in the owners in that area, and we do a mail merge. It's like if you're going to send them something, right?
Yes.
So let's say it generates, 50 different letters that go out. Each of those 50 letters are saved back to those individual parcels. So if someone says, "Well, I didn't know about this," you go to that parcel where they live, you'd look and see the letter that they were sent at that point in time, even though it was part of a batch of 50 that went out, that individual letter is going to be on that parcel.
Okay.
So, so this is, I switched over to another installation so I could show you this. You can view the proximity report, a butter notice, whatever. You can view this in a map view if you want. So I can see this in a map, and I can zoom in and see the area. I can also go into satellite view and all that other here. Now there's a list view. If you wanted to just see this on a list and then export it to Excel or something, you can do that, right? And then we also, we have a merge report type, and that's actually built into the abutter notice. So you can set up a butter specific, specific abutter notice templates, right? And they're going to show up here in the report layout. So if you've got one, it'll show up here. They're very easy to do. I'll click on a butter notice, and we'll go over here and generate the notice. And here's my, here's my notice. If I print it, it's going to kind of show me what it looks like in a print preview. Now, we use an HTML editor to edit these, and so this is my kind of merge report. If I wanted to change that, it's very simple. I can go over here to lookups, and I have administrative rights to building, right? I don't have rights to other departments, right? So we can set up the planning department to have rights over its own, all your application types and users and all that sort of stuff, and nobody else will have access to it. So you can have your own administrator, right, in the system. And so here I'm going to go down to my forms and letters, right? And you can see here who owns the, this is a building department letter. I can't, some of these other ones I can't edit, but I can do my abutter notice, right? I'll click on that. And this pulls up the template generator, so we can, and it allows me to put, any information on the letter from the file, right? Which is kind of cool. And so here I've got, my information in the system. We can do all sorts of different types of letters in the system. And we can combine, we can do custom sort of SQL with the letters. So, which is really cool because, like a good example is, I passed my electrical inspection and I want to email the electric company to turn on the electric for this project or something like that. So we can do just really, really cool stuff. But the proximity templates are a specific type of letter, and that way it only shows up, you know, when you're looking at that particular feature in the system. Let's say I wanted to add a legal description of, you know, something. I can just click on property information here, and if I wanted to, I can just click on the legal description. It's going to show up down here. So that's, you know, that's how easy it is to edit, pull information into your templates. We can support all the custom fields types too. So if we wanted to, we can do that. And you know, it's just easy to change the templates. Is kind of what my point is.
Or whenever you want to change made, I mean, that's support. You could just say, hey, I want to add legal description to this report, and it's going to be done for you that day. So
Yep.
if you do want to do those, that's, you know, show you a training, you can do them. But most of our customers just like our support because it happens so quick, and our people know it very well.
And you can, I just want to show you real quick the security configuration. So, you know, you can have for your department, you know, you can have, you know, set up rights specific to your department, and then just give other people like view access or something like that. And we can, you know, do a lot of different things. Like, you know, maybe once a project's closed, you don't want somebody to edit it. We can do that. Maybe once you complete your review, you don't want anybody to change your review. That's another right in the system. The ability to assign and accept activities from other departments, and, you know, view department tasks. And then down here is the administrative rights. You see I've got administrative rights to my department, but not to other departments. So I can't, you know, run their reports or manage their user accounts or change, you know, their templates or their permits or their applications and stuff like that. So it's very, very kind of...
So we can create an unlimited number of security roles in the system that's based on all of these parameters.
Mm-hmm. Jim, okay, I like the idea that you can't change, or you're controlling editing a completed review. I assume that we can have multiple reviews.
Yes.
Okay, I'm saying by me. Okay, I do one review and I deny something, then they give me another update or something, and now I approve it.
Correct.
Is that going to be right there? Is that going to be a different?
It would be, so that's based on the status of the application itself. So it could be in a resubmittal state, and then after the resubmittal, after the whatever you needed them to do comes back in, maybe they didn't do a document or they had to fill something else out, right? And then it's going to kick off a workflow after that.
Okay.
All right. So here's Jim's, you know, Jim's business park. This is kind of what we started out with, right? And so this is the application form, right? They have Bluebeam integration, so, you know, that's the custom field for Bluebeam integration. And so I can see the applications. I can drill down on the documents too. So if I want to open the documents right here and start looking at them, I can. I can go to the markup tool from here also. So, you know, if I wanted to go add some comments and some markups to the applications, I can do that. There's some fees down here. Typically in planning, in development, the fees are pretty simple. You know, we can do crazy complicated fees. So that's something that, you know, if you need that, we can do it. And it's all in a fee table. It's very easy to set up, and then you can base the fees on any of the custom fields and stuff like that. The review, and you can do more than one review, right? So there's and I'm not sure what they have in the system. So, but if I click on review route here, it's going to allow me to, you know, if there's only one, it's only going to show me one. But I could pick, you know, if there was 12 different review types and I wanted to add a review type to this, I could, right? And so we've got different users.
You can add other groups of review tools. You can take a review step off. You can add a specific review step if you want to.
Yeah, let's I'll show you that real quick. So we're gonna say we did this particular project on the citizen portal, right? So we started out, you know, as a external party on the portal, if I created a project here, I would go to create project and put in Jim's second development. I'm actually not going to fill this out just to save some time, but I could put that in, and I would, here I would select an address, right? And the address feature is a little different on the staff side. It's more flexible. I can search. It'll show a list of the properties with the Google Street View thumbnail there. I can pick that if I want to. Here we've got a map feature, but if there were any other files on this property, we would see a little file folder icon here, and we could see that. And then we can go to the map view if we want from the project. We can drag the pin around if we're like, oh, that's not the right place. It's this one here, right? It'll change that for me up here.
Earlier about, so see on the administrative side, you can do that, but we haven't enabled that on there. And I'm not really quite sure why we haven't done that. I'm sure there's some reason.
I don't think there's a reason, Ray. So it's because somebody hasn't asked for it yet. I mean, that's a lot of times our customer support request, it can be, hey, help me with this permit application, but they can also be, hey, I really want to do this. And those are the types of features that we add when we, update the application, twice a month. So we do a fair amount of that, where someone says, hey, I really want to do this. And that's how the application is kind of morphed over this past 16 years. We haven't done any acquisitions. We've developed all of our client base, not by buying companies, but by, selling and keeping our customers, right? And then, we, all the software's organic based on customer feedback. And we get, because we're unlimited support subscription model, we get a lot of feedback. So from our customers. So this
to implement our product and to support different things, you kind of lose that touch with your customers in terms of the things that they want. And so really, I mean, with our support center, not only the people that man support center are also the people who do implementations. So they got all the skills. It's also our product group. So the people who are making the decisions on what the next thing to do in the software, they also rotate through the support center. So that's how we stay so close to our customers, because all of our people are working with them every day. We get great requirements on things we need to change through that process.
So what I wanted to show you is basically like when I pull up an application. So I'm going to see all my application types here. And I think we were doing a development plan, right? So, and I'll pick development plan here. Now, when we do it on the staff side, this is what Ray was talking about a minute ago, is that we're going to pull up the automated workflow route, right? And on the portal side, we don't. Obviously, you don't want the contractor determining the workflow. So, here we can pull up the route and we can, deselect things or make different assignments if we want to in the system. So that's something that's available, right? And we would save that, and that would be associated with the project here. And here's the application form as we see it on the staff side. So
that's kind of your question that you had earlier in terms of not everything that they're filling out on the portal has to be in the app. They come into you, and then once it comes in, then there's certain things that you do to complete the application that only you want to do.
Yeah, and we talked about it earlier, but we're going to notify you about things that happen in the system. So when somebody's on the Citizen portal, there's a notification matrix, which is really important. It kind of helps you not drop the ball. So when things happen on the portal, you want to know what happens. Yes, particularly if you're working on a project, right? So this is another user that I've logged in as, and they kind of have a different look and feel, but I've got access to the portal here. I can go to my development. You can control how the development projects work on the portal, right? And so you can change the pages. So if I wanted to go change the development services page, I can click on this and I can, make changes to the portal pages, right? I can change the HTML if I want to. So we can get really, really fancy if we want to get fancy with the portal pages. And I'll go ahead and save that. So these, all the pages you can edit, but what I wanted to show you here is the development project configuration options. I can click on this and see, this is kind of how we're going to route all the stuff that happens on the portal based on the application type, right? So the one that we've got, the development plan, the one we've been working on, but so for each one, you can say, hey, I want to notify somebody when a new one comes in. You can put it in the queue, which we looked at. I don't know if we've looked at that yet. We looked at that earlier. Responsible user, you can pick who you want to have. If this application type's modified, payments are made. You probably don't have inspection requests, but if they leave messages or if they upload a revised document, we're going to tell you about it. So you don't have to keep going back to the file to check, right? So that's a little bit of the behind the scenes on the portal side of things.
You're right at a half hour left.
Let's do a step in the plan review, and I think I logged in as Michael here, so I'm gonna Michael's gonna have on his list our Jim's Park, I believe, right? So we've got Jim's Business Park here, and it looks like he got 2 assignments, right? And all the activities you see here, the engineering plan review and the review complete, these are activity types that we set up for you, or you can set them up yourself on the, in the department. You kind of own them. And so I can click on the development plan here if I want to, and I can see, the different the documents in the system. We looked at the review. I can see activities, which are kind of non-review, non-inspection activities. I can see the people involved in the project, and then the complete history of everything that happened. And we can track, all the custom fields on the forms. If somebody changes the acreage or something like that, we can, track that in history. So there's a lot we can do in terms of tracking. But I'm going to go complete this activity that's Michael Cash's engineering plan review, right? So on my list of things to do, I can click on the application and open that, but I'll just click on the activity type here. Now, the activity types can have all the custom fields in a form, right? So just like the application we looked at, I can put custom fields in here and have a very complex or very simple form that I fill out with a whole bunch of different types of field types. In this example, we're using the review comments. Now, this is a comment book that allows me to go in and add comments. You can, each department can set up. Go ahead.
Before you go into the comment book, so that's a really important feature, right? So there's really kind of 2 ways when you have a review that we can do. We can run either or both. It can be a set of comment books. Jim's going to show you that, or Jim said it could be a form. So just like we set up the form for the application with unlimited custom fields and the dynamic questions, all that can be embedded directly into a review activity. And I'd say some of the ones that get most complex for us is where we do like rental inspections. And we have forms where the first thing they'll do is they'll say, all right, this is 2 bedrooms, 3 baths with a kitchen and a second off-site room or something like that. Then based on that, it populates the questions. And then as they're walking around, they're actually, click, 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 check, 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 just like we saw in the applications, full of custom fields, as complex or as simple, dynamic questions, upload documents. All that functionality can be embedded into a review step, an activity step. In this instance, they chose just to have, this is just a book that they have, but we can have 1, both, or either of those.
Okay, and I assume that once you select it and it goes to whatever the master form, you can then edit it
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So the, you know, I'm going to see my departments.
First review, that one didn't pass, then you could also add a second one.
Right.
You have the first one and the second one. Okay. So just
So
this
I'm
on the
gonna-
comment book.
Yeah. So I can add comments here if I want to. You know, and I just check them, and then I can, you know, pull these into my review, and then I can add additional text. It's really cool, like on the iPad and stuff, you can use speech to text if you want to. I can add free-form comments, just insert comments that don't go in the book. If I want to add stuff to the book, there's the add button here. I can add comments to the book if I want to. So that's like kind of, you know, doing the review kind of where you're just adding comments. Now, I can also go into the markup tool, and we're going to take a look at that. So we're going to click on markup tool, and I'll just click on this landscape plan. So I got to enable pop-ups for this. And I'll click on that. And so this is going to pull up the landscape plan.
So this is our own, we're in development environment again, so it's a little bit slower. This is our own product that's integrated into doing markups on the plans that are submitted. So it works with our workflow. You don't have to have, like, if you use Bluebeam, you're going to have a separate workflow for that, or Project Docs, there'll be a separate workflow for that that's in those systems. All this is integrated, or we can use either one.
Okay, so when you hit that icon for markup, it would take you to Bluebeam?
It could, yes, exactly.
Okay.
And the Bluebeam and the Project Docs, they work differently on how those tools are different and what they're.
But yeah, but you could go and set that, so
Yep.
we don't, nothing against your product.
Yeah, absolutely, no.
But we're trying to go to Bluebeam, and so, yeah.
And it's a project by project decision. You don't have to do all or nothing. There may be certain things where you want to use our tool. Yeah.
You want to show a contractor how to where to put one additional tree on an inspection. You mark it up in yours.
Exactly.
Well,
Email it off.
or police department, maybe they don't want to learn Bluebeam.
Right.
Then they could go and.
Exactly.
So it's dual function.
For our reviews, I mean, this markup is probably plenty for us.
Mm-hmm.
No, it isn't.
So since Chris does a movie.
So the what Ray said is important. Kind of when we decided kind of how we were going to approach this, we work with so many different customers, and they work with so many different customers. We kind of said, hey, you know, let's do this. Let's make it Bluebeam and Project Docs integration, and also, you know, our tool is that you can decide at the project level if the architects you're working with or developers are working, if they're using Bluebeam, use Bluebeam. You know, if it's something simple, you know, when we do add stuff like this to the system, it's available to everybody. You know, so code enforcement can mark up pictures, licensing can mark up and stamp, you know, applications or affidavits or scan documents that they want as part of the process. So there's a couple of things in the tool. Now, every markup in the tool is going to have the comment book, right? And you can create stamps if you want to create a stamp. Like we'll do a approved stamp here. And we can, you know, you can add the city's logo or whatever you want to the stamp. You can change the colors and the fonts, and you can share it with other people or just keep it in your department, stuff like that if you want to. So we'll save that. Well, this saves my stamp, but the markup tool is going to be there for everything, or not the markup tool, the comment book, right? So here I can click on my comment book, and I can go in and pick my different comments, and I can associate these with that particular kind of object on the screen here. And then there's a list icon here, and this is a tool set really that was aligned with our architecture, you know, so it's a JavaScript, HTML5, Canvas tool set, which is browser and device independent, right? So you don't have to have anything to use all the features. You can use it at any browsers. You can use it on an iPad if you want. So it's really kind of slick. But we keep adding more stuff to it based on customer feedback, and the tool set's there to do everything we want to do. So we're not writing code. We're just kind of using a tool that's out there, and it's a pretty cool tool set. So I'm going to save this, and there's a lightning bolt feature here, which if I get a new document, I can bring in all the markups from a prior document. I can click on this, and this one doesn't have it, but you can have like a little status thing where I can say that this is a comment, or resubmittal is required, or a correction is required. I can say that over there if I want to. And so other things we can do with the markup tool, you can book
comments on on a version that they had to take care of. So now they goes through this resubmittal phase, goes out, they make the changes to their plans, they resubmit the document again. The first document was there, we get the new document. You can go to that first document that was submitted, pull all your comments into the new one, lay on top of that, and then just go through and click off the ones that they have now taken care of.
I'm going to do kind of cheating. I'm going to do a quick calibration here. You can calibrate the drawings, and then you can do area measurements if you want. So this is kind of a area measurement if I wanted to do it. So you can do that, and then here again I can add from the comment book what I want to add, and I can click and add these, edit these, that sort of stuff. Now we're going to have, I'm reviewer 1 right here, and I can show other reviewers comments, and the comments come in real time, so it's just really every time you refresh it. So like if multiple people are working on this, you'll see their comments as they're doing it, right? So it's kind of cool. They're grayed out, so you can't change them, but at least you can see them, and then you can see them on the portal too. So there's when you're looking at the document section, the users can click on that and they can see the comments, click on the markups and see the comments listed with that markup, right? So you can do text, highlighting, measurements, there's some shapes and stuff. With the shapes, you're going to have an opportunity to, maybe modify some of the properties like colors and stuff like that if you want to. But it's a really slick tool, and again, it's just included with everything.
That arrow there's an opportunity to do a comment, do your comments right about that arrow. So if someone clicks the arrow, they're going to see exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, so I can put my comments in here on the arrow if I want to. So add some comments if I want, and throw that on there. So the once you're done marking stuff up, and you can have a multi-page document. We support doing larger plan documents and stuff like that. You can email this if you want to someone. I'm going to generate it, and when I click generate, basically this is going to save a PDF with the file, and it's going to put my markups on the file, and then create a legend on the bottom with the text of the comments. And again, we're in it's just not. It's not as beefy as our production systems. So.
Yeah, I missed this point, but if we got multiple people doing reviews on the same drawing, do they get consolidated together onto one?
Yes. Yep. And so you saw like when you did a comment there, it said like 1.2 and 1.1. So if someone else was doing it, you'd see their name down the bottom. And theirs would be 2.1, 2.2, okay. And you could just see mine, or just see mine and his, or I want to see everyone.
See all of them together.
Yep.
Okay.
Basically, we're waiting for this to generate to save, and then we would go ahead and email that out.
It's going to actually appear on the portal too.
It would just, you could email it out, but even if they didn't look at the email, if they went into the portal, they're going to see that document, and they're going to see that there's reviews on there, and see it right from the portal.
So we wouldn't be, basically, they just get notified to go to the portal and look at there.
Yeah.
So we aren't.
Yeah. So this is what I was talking about earlier. We're in the room, but that's where, like, let's say you've got 10 steps. First step is done. What we're getting back the feedback from our contractors are right now. I can see when that first review was done, I could see the stuff like for electrical that needs to happen. So I can start working on that before the whole thing's done. So I'm not waiting until everything is done in the very end and then having to go through my whole process. It gives them that capability to kind of keep working on the stuff that they can work on. Or you cannot do that also. I mean, that's a configuration option.
So, and there's, so this has a, when we completed that, you can kind of see that we can see it in our review. So here's my approved stamp. Here's my area I measured, and you can name these different things. Here's my arrow, and these are the the text comments associated with these. So so let's say we completed this.
Can you kind of show where we are? I think people got lost on kind of how we got here. We flattened out the document and then.
I just ended up saving the document. So, and so we were here, so we were in the markup tool. We just clicked on markup documents, and I clicked on landscape plan, and then we did our markups. But when we're done with the markups, it actually pulls the text into my review down here. So, it just allows you to look at the comments, and we can do HTML in the comments, so we can make comments red and bold, or we can do a link to a code book or a link to another system right in the comments. So that's something that's kind of cool. So when we're done, and I'm not sure
on the document or sync activity, so it's kind of nice.
So there's templates, when you're working in an activity like a review activity or inspection, we can automatically send out notices. Like if you're done with the review, we can send the email out to the contractor, the architect, and then or you can do it manually. So here's like a plan review comments report, and we'll show you everybody involved in the project in here. So I'm just going to send it to myself, right? But you've got the review team down here at the bottom, and then we've got our external parties, our applicant, our property owner up here. If there's no email address, you can add it here if you want to. And we'll click save. I can add it.
So we mark it up, multiple people mark it up, and then we send it back out, and there's a comment. It will say who made the comment, so they know who to call if they have a question on it?
Yes.
Okay.
And you can, I believe that's configurable with the markup tool, right? So with the portal, you can just show the comments, or you can show the name and the department that made the comments. So you can change that. I can add attachments when I send emails, so if I want to add something, I can. And I can, I can select external files too if I want off my desktop or device. If I want to do that, and we'll preview this. I don't know what's going to come up, but here we go. This is just an example plan review report. These are made in the markup or in the template editor. So any combination of graphics, fonts, links. There's a link here to their portal, right? So that's available, and you can edit these if you want. So all the templates, you can say, hey, I want to edit. Edit something. You can do that before you send it out, and I'll go ahead and send this out. So that's that's kind of going through a review, using the markup tool, adding the review comments, and then we're sending out the report. We can do roll-up reports, kind of like where we're showing all the reviewers' comments in a final report. Sometimes there's steps along the way where, we do like informal steps and informal plan review report along the way. And then at the end, a formal, one with everybody's comments. So we can set that process up however you want to do it. So, and, based on the project type too. So, you could do it one way for certain projects and another way for other types of projects. So that's kind of the review process. As we go through the review, here I've completed this one, right? Each department, would have their own review activity types, and they can use the markup tool and make changes and stuff like that. So So are there any specific questions?
Yes, you kind of touched on this. We've got a developer. He's created a master project, and he has gone in and created his first sub-application, sub-project or whatever. We'll say that it was a preliminary plat. Okay, now I assume that he has an account, he goes back in and creates or adds to that his site plan review or his site plan application or his final plat. And that's all tracked there.
Right, underneath that project, so that we have that project level, right, where you can consolidate, even if they're doing it from the portal, when they create that new application, there'll be the ability to say, is this part of another project? And he'd pick that project and associate that new app each time with that specific project.
Okay, so we've had, and we'll just say it's the civil engineer who has created this so far. We're now to the building permit level, and that's going to be an architect who's doing that. Is that something he's going to have to create a separate project, and then we're going to have to link it together internally? Is he going to have the civil engineer's account information?
No, they would just do their own application and associate it with that existing project. So that, that's another project.
Okay, so he'll just pull it, okay.
We can also do a kind of a master project structure too, but Ray's correct. And let me search on and this is the search feature. I'm just kind of in another customer here that I know that they have a site. They have a project with a site plan and a final plat. So I'm going to go into the search feature here, and I'm going to look for a site plan application. And these are all the applications they have in the system. They're about the same size as you guys. It's Spanish Fork, Utah, and they have a site plan applications, and there are probably only about 40 of these in here. So,
let's say they didn't associate it with a project. It comes in, you can say you can associate it with that project.
So we can manually link it to a parent project.
Right.
Do we have to manually do it, or would it just?
They can do it when they submit it, or if they don't do it when they submit it, you can do it when it comes.
But there's no like geo reference, like it wouldn't automatically do it.
Wouldn't automatically do it.
well, it kind of when you look at the property view, right? You're going to see both of the permits, regardless of what project they're associated with. When you look at the property, you'll see everything. So I did a search, and the search feature is kind of cool. It found 123 files under, kind of pulled up all the site plans. Now, you can do a map view of the searches. So, here I can see all the site plans that are in the city, right? And I can click on these and drill down. I can also pull in layers and all that kind of stuff. So, it's kind of a cool feature. The search feature is, almost reporting in a way, because it just allows me to do a lot of stuff. Now, if I get a big list, sometimes you're in a big list of comments, you get 1,000, comments in a category or something like that. Or you're in a report in Citizenserve, you can search just using browser features, right? So I'm looking for something that's got a Petco, because that's the project I wanted to show you. So here I've looked at Petco. And I've got, it found it, now this is what the project looks like in the search screen. I kind of got my description here. And then I've got my site plan, and this one has a final plat, right? So if I click, I can drill down to those application types, or I can go to the file. Here's how it looks when you have multiple applications in your project. So, you're going to see the final plat, you're going to see the general commercial. If I want to add a new permit to this, I just click on Add Permit, and I can go in here and add, pick another permit. Maybe I want to, put all my building permits in here for this project. I could do that, right? So, that's something that's very easy to do. I'm going to see all the reviews, and reviews typically are kind of complicated on development projects, right? And so this is a real project out in the real world, and you know, I kind of got you know, I've got a resubmittal in here. It looks like it got kicked out at some point. You know, there's like a resubmission right here. So, and I can see if I just want to see my reviews associated with the site plan, I can. If I just want to see my reviews associated with the final plat, I can. Now, you can kind of see here that you know, this is you know, there's a lot of activities going on with this. You know, it finally did get approved, but you know, it got kicked back a lot. And I can see other activities. You see all the non-inspection, non-review activities.
I have a question. So,
Hold on one second.
so you've shown us how to report internally on a site plan review. How does it report? How does the system allow us to report out to an approving body, like a planning commission or a city council? So is that simply another review?
Yeah, it's a step in the review. So they have that. They have where is it at? They have a meeting.
Yeah, and we had that work step in the first one that we did.
Okay.
So it would be a work step.
Yeah, so
even with that, we could create an agenda, or we could create, you know,
Okay.
letters that go out however you want them to look.
So this one here, you can see after they went through the process, this one's got the development review committee. So we can do your agendas and we can do the minutes. They've got their minutes in here. If I click on this activity, you know, they kind of got the minutes down here and we can publish the agendas as reports on the citizen portal. We can also publish the minutes on the portal, and that sort of stuff too. So that's
letter, like a plan check letter, or how we would generate, you know, a letter from one of these steps.
I did that. Do you want to?
Did you guys see that? Maybe I missed that.
I understood too.
Yeah, I sent an email, that plan review report email that I sent out.
Oh.
I could do it again.
Yeah. I was thinking more of a staff report level type document.
We can. There's a couple of different things we can do. Let's pick one of these here, and this is another project in the system. But you can, and they're kind of, you know, they have links in their applications to like helpful documents. So, you know, it's really cool just being in HTML with the application forms, because we can do, like, they've got, you know, this is read, and then when they do this, they have to check off that they read everything and stuff like that. But there's in Citizenserve, there's a what we call a file report. Right? Now, we can set up a specific report for you that would be included in the subscription. So if there's something very specific you want, you know, to create your planning commission booklet or whatever, we can do that. But there's also, there's file reports which allow you to kind of go in and select things from the file. You know, it's really kind of more common in, like code enforcement. I want to send the whole case off to the court or something, but I can go in here and basically, you know, include, you know, different aspects of the file, and I can put them in my, you know, put them in a one-page, you know, complete summary of that project, right? So, you know, that's something that's available to do. So we can do file reports to generate information. But again, we can also, you know, it could be something that we also set up, and we've done that. You know, there's a really, really cool implementation of that in, I think it was Barefoot Bay or something, Florida. And, you know, we, you know, have a report, you know, basically is their whole, you know, agenda for their meetings where they, you know, go and talk about the development stuff. So
So Jim, did you show fees? Are the fees just?
Yeah, so
No, we showed
the
them
fees, let's go back to our, well, maybe we'll just go back to our, so I'm in recent files here. This kind of just allows me to kind of go back to what I was looking at. So I'm going to click on the one we were doing, and then if I go to my site plan, this is a pretty typical site plan application. I've got, a lot of documents. I've got, my CAD, I've got PDFs, soils reports down here, and elevations and landscaping. And I believe it is, so we've got, quite a bit of information, but the fees are always going to be here at the bottom. And this just is a simple fee, but we can do really complicated fees too. So, and then this payment was done. This was probably, this was paid over so Spanish Fork's kind of cool because they get 85, 90% of their applications come in online. And then this has a receipt document too. So if I wanted to generate that, I can. The logos don't show up in our test
application. Question. Every field on there can be associated with a fee and a specific calculation. So we do very, very complex fees with these things that are kind of crazy. Even some of the smallest municipalities have the craziest fee structures. And each one of those can have a fund and or a GL account number associated with it. So that's how we facilitate how we integrate with your financial system.
And it's not a separate tab. It looks like it's just part of the application.
Just part of the application. Okay. Yep.
And you can add multiple fees to get a total, and they pay one time the total.
Yep, exactly. You just pay the total, and then we do the allocation of the GL account level.
We can do, when they're paying on the portal, we can do, they can pay for, 10 permits at the same time with one payment. We can do allocations, payment allocations, recalculate. There's, we can do a lot of different manual fee types. I don't think they have anything for this.
Questions on time? So different ways that we normally can do that. So, I mean, we know when the project was started, we know the finished, we know the start date for each task, the completion date for each task, and we can associate a specific amount of hours on a task. Any of those kind of combinations and report over however you want that to look. So when you say time tracking, it means different things to different customers. Some just want the total duration of that project. Some want the duration of the task associated with the project. And some people want all that and or specific hours spent on review activities as an example.
We can set up any custom fields like hours, and we can collect all the information we would need to, have a metric average, time for reviews for each review type. We can set up billing, if you want to bill based on your review time, we can do that. So
something I might have is whenever they submit for a floodplain development permit, I may not want them to necessarily pay a fee until I look at the application, because it may vary on which fee it is. But by the same token, then is there a gatekeeper or something to prevent me from issuing the permit until that fee has been paid?
Yep.
Okay, and then the opposite side of that, how difficult is it going to be, and I assume there would be audit on it, for me to go and waive the fee?
Okay, so each application type, you can determine how you want the fees to be paid. So when you're saying, I don't want to take anything up front, and maybe there are certain things that you're going to add to the permit that are going to change the calculations as you go through, or determine that it's the right one or not the right one, or then based on that, you can do an application fee then, or you can just wait till the whole thing's done. So a lot of different options on how those fees can come about. We can do a condition. Conditions are very powerful. We haven't really showed those in the system, but we have a lot of different places basically where someone does something that we can interject a SQL script that says, And then one of those would be issue the permit. And we can go to issue permit, we can do whatever we have in the database. We could check, it could be fees paid, it could be if it's in a zone. If we have the data, we can write the SQL script to say stop or warning when that happens. Those are called conditions in the system.
Okay.
And
Yeah, that's gonna be.
Yeah, so
that's very powerful stuff that we do.
That's gonna be important also whenever we get into permits, because the floodplain permit is basically, you have to have,
Right.
if you have to have a floodplain permit, you must have that before you can get any other permit.
Right, so here's Jim just showed you real quick an example of that condition.
And so we can do conditions all over the system. So assigning inspections, selecting a property, you know, they're really, really flexible. And this is basically saying, hey, you know, you got a balance on the permit, and the contractors, and it's a warning, but they can be stops, you know, so I just can't do this. But I can generate it, and this is kind of an example of a building permit. But the conditions are, you know, they're easy to set up. They're also included in support. So, like, you know, if you wanna add stuff wherever you want to add it, we'll add it for you. So.
That's the whole thing. Things are going to change with you guys after you're using the system for a while. You're like, man, it'd be nice if we had a condition here. But the person will do that. And that was a good example, because like that one where when they filled out the application and they chose their contractor, the contractor's license was valid. Mm-hmm. Now they went through this period of time going through the reviews, and now we're at the point where we're going to generate that permit, but now the contractors let their license lapse.
Wow.
So then we recheck that at that point in time. And like I said, those are all just SQL scripts that we put in there. We make them do whatever you want them to do to check those at those different events.